Now here's the updated lineup for WrestleDream. Next Sunday, their newest pay-per-view. It looks like a really strong card. We have MJF and Adam Cole, assuming Cole can go, defending the ROH Tag Team titles against The Righteous. Chris Statlander defends the TBS Championship against Julia Hart. Julia Hart has quietly put together a 26-match win streak. Her last loss was all the way back in April of last year, and the person who beat her? Chris Statlander. So there is history between these two. Hangman Page goes one-on-one with Swerve Strickland. I'm expecting that to be a great match. They're going to have their contract signing on Wednesday. Also added, the Young Bucks, the Guns, the Lucha Bros, Orange Cassidy, and Hook in a four-way for the right to challenge sometime in the future for the AEW World Tag Team Championship. Now, the Bucks just lost their rubber match to FTR at Wembley Stadium. They just won the Ring of Honor six-man titles 2 nights ago. We had 2 sets of trios titles defended on the same show, which is one too many. Tony Khan putting the ROH tag belts on MJF and Adam Cole, and now putting these belts on the Elite. I'm not sure if he's trying to build up Ring of Honor with bigger names to make it more attractive to Warner Brothers Discovery as something for their Max service, because Tony Khan has admitted publicly he wants to be on Max. And it almost feels to me like he's doing what he's doing by putting these titles on these people to try to get more eyeballs on the product and make it more attractive so that whatever deal he's able to make with them, if he is able to make one for Max, that Ring of Honor would be part of that deal. And maybe Ring of Honor could air first run episodes on there. They'd have the archive on there. It would just shift from Honor Club to Max. And they could just pair it off with the AEW library. Because otherwise, the only explanation for any of this is that they can't build an audience for Ring of Honor without using the bigger AEW names to get more eyeballs on the product. I'm thinking it's more the latter than the former. Because there's been a noticeable uptick in the amount of Ring of Honor influence on these shows lately after they had gotten away from it for a while. Remember, after Final Battle last year, Tony Khan said, starting in the new year, we're going to move away from that. You're not going to see as much Ring of Honor on AEW television. Well, a lot has changed in 9 months, and now there's an overabundance of Ring of Honor on AEW television. Probably because the audience, the standalone audience for it on Honor Club is just not that great. But Full Gear is in California. They're at the Forum in Inglewood, so I am assuming the Bucks are going to be getting another title shot. But then again, the Righteous are wrestling MJF and Adam Cole on this show, so nothing is for sure in this company. But as I look at these teams involved here, and Full Gear being out west, on the West Coast, I'm thinking we're getting Bucks and FTR again. Eddie Kingston will defend both his Ring of Honor World and New Japan Strong Openweight titles against Katsuyori Shibata, the Ring of Honor Pure Champ. Everyone has a fucking title in this company. Doesn't it feel that way? I feel like every match I talk about is a title match. Everyone has a title. This guy is the New Japan champion. This guy is the Ring of Honor World champion, the Ring of Honor six-man champions. But wait, we got AEW Trios champions. We got the AEW Women's World champion, but we got the TBS champion. We got the TNT title. We got the AEW World title. It's unbelievable. At some point, when does it just stop meaning anything when you have all these titles? The ROH Pure title will not be on the line. It will just be Eddie's 2 titles that are on the line. FTR is going to defend their AEW World Tag Team titles against Aussie Open. And this is going to be 1 year later to the day of their Royal Quest match for New Japan, where after the match, when FTR beat them, Dax Harwood got on the mic and said, Aussie Open may be the best tag team in the world today. And he called them the future of tag team wrestling. That's pretty high praise. That's why I could see a title change next Sunday. I mean, if you put me on the spot and said, who do you think is going into Full Gear as the tag team champions? I'm still going to say FTR, but not 100% on that. I could see Aussie Open picking up the surprise win next Sunday. Darby Allin is going to take on Christian Cage. 2 out of 3 falls for the TNT Championship. It is worth noting that Darby Allin, in that very same building that they're going to be in next Sunday, they're at the Climate Pledge Arena in his hometown of Seattle. In that very building, on the very first Dynamite of this year, Darby Allin beat Samoa Joe. to win the TNT Championship. Will history repeat itself? I have mentioned the plans that he has to climb Mount Everest next year, the mountain of death. At least a dozen people already this year have died making that climb. Darby was a guest on the BJ and Migs daily podcast, and he revealed when he plans to make the climb. He said, I go to Switzerland in October to train there. I go to China in November. I go to New Zealand in February. And actual Mount Everest is April. I've never climbed any mountain before. I wanted to go 0 to 100. I wanted to show that the mind, the will to do something is strong enough to where you don't have to train for anything. This is going to end very badly. He said they, referring to the climbing company that he's working with, they are like, come on, I agreed to get the proper training. The actual climb is in April, and it's 2 months to climb it. And, months ago, he said that he planned to draft a will in case he dies up there so that he knows where his house and all of his dogs are going to go. In the event that there's a big-ass avalanche. He's out of his mind. I mean, look, I respect the fact that he's doing this. It's like when CM Punk decided he was going to be a UFC fighter. It looked like it wasn't going to end well for him. It did not end well for him. He was embarrassed. But you know what? I respect the fact that he at least said, this is something I've wanted to do. Even though he was older at that point, and he went through training camp, and he did it. Now, he got his ass kicked, but, he was a lot braver than a lot of people would be to get into the octagon and do cage fighting. So I respect what Darby is doing here, but this just sounds like a very bad idea. Guy's out of his mind. So if he's going to Switzerland, and then after that he's going to China, I don't think they're going to put a title on Darby Allin. We have Kenny Omega, Kota Ibushi, and Chris Jericho in a trios match against Konosuke Takeshita, Sammy Guevara, and Will Ospreay. So this should be incredible. It is another Omega trios match, but I assume they're saving Takeshita against Omega, the rematch, for Full Gear. And again, it's disappointing. I was looking forward to Ibushi against Takeshita, but it's pretty clear they're hiding him at this point, and he's just not ready to do singles matches. So yeah, on paper, this looks like an incredible match. And then the main event is going to be Bryan Danielson in what they're billing as a dream match here on this WrestleDream show against the New Japan Television Champion Zack Sabre Jr. This is a match that Danielson has wanted for a very long time. It was supposed to be taking place on the Forbidden Door card last year before Danielson got pulled with the concussion. So now they get to do the match. I'm sure it's going to be a fantastic match. I know there are some people who don't like Zack Sabre. They don't like his style of wrestling. But you put him in the ring with Bryan Danielson and you've got a ready-made classic. And look at the matches Danielson has already had on his resume this year. The Iron Man match with MJF. The strap match with Ricky Starks. The Forbidden Door match with Okada. Countless television matches he had early in the year in the build-up to the MJF match. I think was it Bandito? I think there was a great match with him and Bandito. I can't imagine this is going to be anything but great. So that's 9 matches. That looks like a full card to me, but this is AEW. So we got one more week. I'm sure they'll add a couple more. I'm going to save my full predictions for next Sunday. We got one more podcast before the actual show, so we'll see if they add anything else. Tony Khan, in the commercial that aired last night for the show, had an interesting line where he said, "You won't want to miss AEW WrestleDream, as we will end a chapter in wrestling history and begin a new era in AEW. Live on pay-per-view next Sunday night." Now, Tony Khan is prone to hyperbole. We know this. This could just be another example of that. But the end of one chapter and the beginning of another, I don't know what that could be in reference to, other than maybe the announcement of a Max deal. Maybe. I mean, I think that would certainly qualify. Otherwise, I have no idea what that could be in reference to.